Today on The Georgette Miller Show.
Hi, I'm Georgette Miller. Thanks for stopping in. Today, we're going to talk about what I like to call special circumstances. Later on in the show, we're going to talk to an attorney, Michelle Lee, who works out of our Pennsylvania office, and she's going to walk you through her experiences and also walk you through, in a very personal way, what the choices she's made for her life and how it's worked for her. Again, we're not here ramming anything down your throat. We're just showing you a different way. We're just here giving you the information, hoping that you will make better choices. You know, life happens. I may not be sure that the shirt I'm wearing is blue. It may be some really weird shade of gray or pink or whatever, but I'm sure of something. Life will happen. Something is going to happen during my lifetime to mess with my money. Some event is going to happen that make me have to reevaluate, okay, I was spending X, I need to adjust my spending. Some casualty is going to happen. And the circumstances we want to talk about today is job loss, or you're facing the possibility of losing your job. We want to talk about divorces or a change in your marital status. Something happened and you were a union and now we're going off our separate ways. And the last topic we want to talk about is basically foreclosure. Now, these are all stuff that happen. It's either happening to you, one, two, or all three, or you know someone that this is happening to. And what I'm trying to do is tell you that, listen, this is not the end of the world. There is planning you can come up with a plan of some kind to wade you through this hard time, to wade you through this crisis. People, this is not the end of the world. However, it's going to take sacrifice, and it's going to take you making some really hard, or what you perceive to be hard, choices. All of us want good things, I don't want you to tune in and believe that we're beating up on you based on the choices that you're making, or we're beating up on you and saying, okay, you really shouldn't take care of yourself, or you really shouldn't be buying yourself nice things. But what I am saying is something that we don't talk about a lot. We have a lot of waste. Listen, when Johnny comes in, he doesn't have to get PlayStation 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes you have to look at Johnny and say, listen, I can't afford neither PlayStation 1, nor 2, nor 3. But I may be able to give it to you in the future because there's something coming on the horizon that I have to be prepared for. Again, we're talking about sacrifice. We're talking about making choices. We're talking about making better choices. You shouldn't be looking behind you. I want you to look ahead. So whatever decisions you've made in the past, you've made them in the past. But I'm now providing you with information for you to make better choices going forward. So when you didn't know better, you made and acted in a certain way. But Maya Angelou likes to say, when you know better, you do better. And that's our hope for you. Our hope today is that you will take away the fact that when life happens, we need to be prepared for it, and also coming up with a plan for when life happens. So, on that note, we'll be back with Michelle, and I'll see you in a moment.
Questions you want answered? Connect with Georgette on Facebook.
Welcome back. We have Michelle Lee on the line, Michelle Lee Esquire. She's one of our attorneys, works out of our Pennsylvania office. And Michelle's going to talk about certain circumstances and what she sees coming into our office and what, tools she's used to help people out of certain circumstances. So Michelle, give us a little insight on some of these circumstances.
Well, let's start off with the easiest one first, and that's people who are going through marital status changes. I frequently see people who, especially women, who had the better credit going into the marriage, and so they accumulated all the debt while they were in marriage. They got their husband the car. They got all the credit card bills. And when you get a divorce, that same husband is no longer paying that car and is no longer paying those credit card bills. So the first obvious thing for you to do is file a Chapter 7 and get rid of that debt. So if you are thinking or if you are getting a divorce, the first thing you need to do is come and see us so that we can go over the options, because more often than not, that Chapter 7 is your best start and your fresh start that you're looking for with the marriage and with your financial freedom. I also see people who are either going to be losing their job, or they're stressed about losing their job, or they have lost their job. If you've already lost your job, my first question to you is, have you gotten your unemployment? A lot of people don't know that they can qualify for unemployment, so they have no stream of income. If you're unemployed and you have your unemployment, we now know how much your budget is. So I sit down with you and say, all right, well, what are your needs, wants, and as Georgette said, that 50, 30, 20, and we figure out how to cut that down even more. Do you have rent? Do you have a mortgage? Are there programs that you can qualify for while you're unemployed to help you pay for that rent or mortgage? How are you spending your money? Are you going to food banks? Are you applying for food stamps? Are you working with companies on your utilities? Those are things you need to start thinking about. The one thing that you absolutely should not do if you're unemployed and you're getting unemployment is use your money to pay credit cards. Instead, that money needs to be going to savings when that money runs out, or definitely to your mortgage or to your rent. I like people to prepay. You can prepay your rent or prepay your mortgage if you're going to be there, especially if that money is too tempting for you and you absolutely must spend it. Get rid of it. Pay your mortgage, pay your rent. Now, for people who are thinking that, oh man, they fired 20 people and they might fire me next month, save your money. Save your money for that rainy day. When I first got my first job out of law school, I was making maybe 20 grand a year, and I made it. I'm still living as if I am making that 20 grand a year, and everything else I'm saving.
And she's serious. We have a running bet in the office who can live on $20 or less for the week. And consistently, that's Michelle. You figure out a way to eat 3 meals a day, get to and from work on $20. That's amazing.
That's right.
That's just absolutely amazing.
I think smart, Georgette. A perfect example is I go into a store and I see chicken breasts, but I also see that turkey breast. That turkey breast is on sale for 39 cents a pound, but I really wanted chicken breast. I will get that turkey breast because it's only 39 cents a pound instead of turkey breast, which is like $20 a pack now. So it's really about me budgeting my money. I know what I can live off of, and I try and make it a game as to how cheap I can go. And I still manage to entertain myself. I find free things to do. This weekend, I went for a 2-hour hike, and then I went apple picking. That was a lot of stuff I did in one weekend, Georgette.
Okay, so what about the people who are coming into the office facing foreclosure? What are you doing?
Well, for the people who are facing foreclosure, the first thing I ask is, well, can you afford the mortgage? And about 80%.
It's their come to Jesus moment, as I like to say.
I look at their pay stubs and I crunch the numbers, and they might be able to, but where else is their money going? It's going to that car payment. It's going to just a lot of miscellaneous things. I have them sit down with me and say, bring your bank statements. I start going through and circling miscellaneous things. It's that Dunkin' Donuts, that McDonald's. They're like, well, I only spent $3. I only spent $5. Well, by the time that month is over, you've spent over $200 buying fast food, buying just one cup of coffee a day. That's like $3 for that cup of coffee. Well, now you're looking at a month. Now you're looking at $60. What can Michelle do with $60? I can feed myself for 2 months.
Well, I guess the moral of your story is, now listen, we call Michelle, for her it's guerrilla warfare. It's her and her money and everybody else. I'm not saying that everybody should be that extreme, but we can all learn a little bit. Michelle has taught me to look at money very differently, and I've been told that I'm very frugal. But Michelle took it to another level, and you appreciate that. You appreciate the fact that, listen, your money, you work real hard for your money. You get up and you go 40 hours every week. Some of us do it for 60, 70 hours. There has to be a really good reason for that money to leave your pocket. And if you're facing some of these hardships or special circumstances, we really have to make choices. And the choices are difficult, but they're choices that have to be made. And in order for your life to continue uneventfully or with the least amount of chaos as possible, you have to make choices. As hard as they are, you just have to make choices. All right, Michelle, thanks for stopping in. Guys, we will be right back.
Coming up,
certain circumstances happen in your life. And when they happen, how prepared are you? You need to make the decision that's best for your family. And I think a better decision is to get the debts discharged, stay home with your family, take care of yourself, and never get back into debt. When you're faced with one of these circumstances, you want to make the best decision you possibly can.
follow Georgette on Twitter and have your questions answered.
Welcome back. In this section, I like to go to my Twitter and my Facebook page and basically answer the questions that I've been receiving. First question comes from our Facebook account, and the question is basically, when can you tell that bankruptcy is the right choice over choosing to work harder and tough it out? Interesting question, and many of you are not going to like the answer. Listen, bankruptcy is not just for GM, it's for everybody, and it's a business tool. If you find yourself overwhelmed by your debts, and a lot of you are, you feel like you're on this treadmill and you're running and you're running and you just can't get off. And no matter how hard you work, you can't seem to get ahead. It's time for you to cut your losses as if you're a business. And basically get as much of your debts discharged so that the money that is coming in can cover your rent, your food, your light, your utilities, and basically keep your family together. A lot of us like to think, and this is not some kind of moral stain or moral abhorrence, a lot of us seem to feel, and rightfully so because you were told, that okay, if I just get the second job, then I can use the second job money to pay off my credit card debts. But in the meantime, you've left your second job, you're out at your second job, you're not home with your family, and you're working and working and working. This is not the best choice for your family. You need to make the decision that's best for your family. And I think a better decision is to get the debts discharged, stay home with your family, take care of yourself, and never get back into debt. So it's really a personal decision, but for me, it's always more times than not, the better decision to file the bankruptcy, get yourself out of the debt, and so that you can stay home with your family. But once you get out of the debt, you can't go back in. Okay, and our next question comes from our Facebook page also. And the question is, I hear the phrase medically bankrupt thrown around a lot nowadays. What are they referring to? Well, what they're referring to is a client who walked into my office very similarly, maybe about a week ago. This client worked, single woman, worked at a really good job, and then she became medically disabled. Currently, she is bringing home SSD, so that's Social Security disability income, of approximately $2,200 a month. That's what she gets from the federal government. However, her co-pays for her insurance and her medical bills, her prescription, is approximately $1,200 a month. So after she pays for all her medical bill, her co-pays, and all her prescription, she has $1,000 a month to live on. Nobody, this client lives in New York, nobody in New York basically can live on $1,000 a month. She has $1,000 to pay her mortgage, buy food, pay her utilities, and all the likes. She's basically bankrupt. She has to file a Chapter 7 to discharge her credit card bills and all her other debts. She has no choice. Also, this client unfortunately has cancer. She has medical bills from all her surgeries in the thousands. There is no way on creation that this client or this debtor could meet our obligations on this $2,200 a month. She has no other choice. She had to file a Chapter 7. Unfortunately, she had to file a Chapter 7 and surrender her home and start saving and start looking for somewhere else to go. It's an unfortunate act, but it's something that happens all the time, and there is no one who could pay all those bills on $2,200 a month. So that's someone who is medically bankrupt. Okay, our next question comes from our Twitter account, and it says, does filing bankruptcy under my name oppress my loved one as well, or is it just me? I don't want my mistakes to make their life qualify for less. Well, first of all, when you file bankruptcy, it's just you. I file bankruptcies for individuals who are spouses, who are married, and they file by themselves. They don't want their spouse to file. When you file bankruptcy, it's just you. However, in a situation where you're married, what you need to understand is this. If one spouse files bankruptcy, but you have a debt together, the spouse that's filed is discharged. However, the spouse that doesn't file is still legally obligated to make the payments, or is still legally obligated where that debt is concerned. So in instances where I only have one spouse in front of me, I always say, okay, let's have the conversation. Let's figure out if it really makes sense that you're the only person that should be filing. If the debt is all in your name, there was a period where you had the better credit, so you went out and got all the debt, then yes, you should be filing by yourself. However, if the debt is joint, the credit card debts and the lines of credits and all these unsecured debts were taken out in both your names, then you both should be filing together. And you both will have a fresh start. It's so funny. I have clients who walk in and they're determined. Well, the husband is sitting there or the wife is sitting there saying, no, the debt is only in that person. They're the only one should be filing. And I said to them, that may be the case, but they will have their first start. So they're going to walk out debt free. Even if you don't have the debt together, you're still going to be obligated to pay your debts. You're still going to be walking around with $10,000, $15,000 in credit card debts that you're going to have to pay. And once I have that conversation and they realize that their spouse is going to walk out debt free, but they're still going to have their debt, all of a sudden they're like, well, yes, Miss Miller, maybe I should be filing as well. So long and short of it is you can file by yourself and it has no effect on your spouse or your family, on your relatives. However, more times than not, both of you should be getting your fresh start, not just one. We'll be right back.
Visit GeorgetteMillerLaw.com to learn more about how Georgette and her team can help you. You can even tell us about your case.
Welcome back. This is a section I like to call, let's demystify the foolishness. And I'm really talking to you guys out here right now. What you guys need to understand is life happens. It's not personal. There's nothing personal to it. Certain circumstances happen in your life. And when they happen, how prepared are you? If you're not prepared, why not? You know, nobody in this day and age goes through their lifetime with the same job. It just doesn't happen anymore. Those days are almost over. No one goes through their lifetime without their employment becoming funny. You know, somebody gets sick. Even if you got sick for 2 weeks and somehow you had to be out of work for 2 weeks, or one of your children, you know, a child got sick, but something will happen to have your money go funny. You know, have you been preparing for such an event? And again, if you haven't, why not? You know that this is going to happen. And this is what we're trying to tell you, that look, when the going gets tough, the tough gets planned and planned to get going. And when you're in one of these special circumstances, you've lost your job, or you're looking like you're about to lose your job, you're looking at an impending divorce, or you're facing foreclosure, you're going to have to make tough choices. You have a finite amount of money coming into your household at that time. How is the best way to spend my money at this time? How is the best way to save the little savings that I have, or hope to have, or don't have at this time? I have people, like Michelle indicated, walking in, paying their credit card bills, but they're not paying their rent. That is backwards. When you're in this situation, you want to pay your rent, you want to pay your mortgage because you need somewhere to live. And then you need to make priorities. At this juncture in your life, credit card bills and unsecured credit should be the last of your consideration, because you always have the opportunity to file a bankruptcy to either get rid of that debt in total or get a significant portion of that debt discharged. So I guess the long and short of it is this. I like to say it, you've heard me say it week over and over again. You're not Lot's wife. We're not asking you to look behind you. But we're providing you with the information so that you know better and will do better. Life happens. It's not if, it's not maybe, it happens. And when you're faced with one of these circumstances, you want to make the best decision you possibly can for your life to go on. You want to prioritize. Get a list, pen to paper, say, I have to pay this, I have to pay that, I have to pay that, I need to eat, I need to pay for my medication. Everything else that you can get rid of should be gone. Look, not here preaching, just providing you with the information. And hope, it's always my greatest hope that going forward, having heard this, you will make the best possible decision you can for your family. Anyway, on that happy note, as they say in my country, walk good, and I'll see you all next week.